Be merciful to me, O God, for man would swallow me up. Fighting all day, he oppresses me. My enemies would hound me all day, for there are many who fight against me, O Most High. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. In God, I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear. What can flesh do to me? All day they twist my words. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They gather together, they hide, they mark my steps, when they lie in wait for my life. Shall they escape by iniquity? In anger cast down the peoples, O God. You number my wanderings. Put my tears into your bottle. Are they not in your book? When I cry out to you, then my enemies will turn back. This I know because God is for me. In God I will praise his word. In the Lord I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? Vows made to you are binding upon me, O God. I will render praises to you, for you have delivered my soul from death. Have you not kept my feet from falling, that I might walk before God in the light of the living? My name's Arthur. Thank you for joining me as we share together Psalm 56, a further psalm in this set, thinking about how to respond to persecution, to opposition. And again, David's approach is to trust God, is to call upon God, and to rely upon God, and to praise his God. He relies upon the mercy of God, but the new thing in this psalm is the refrain, I will praise his word. So what that is indicating is that God has made promises to David, and David fully believes he will keep them. When you have confidence in a person, if that person makes you a promise, then you know the person will keep the promise, even though it may be delayed. This is the situation David is in. But David has also made promises to his God, which he must keep. No doubt these promises were made when he was a young man, looking after the sheep, when he looked up at the stars and appreciated the mighty power of God, when he looked at his sheep and appreciated that the Lord was his shepherd. These early experiences of David in nature as a shepherd were the foundation for his future experience of God. The particular occasion that prompted this psalm is to the chief musician, set to the silent dove in distant lands, a Michtam of David, when the Philistines captured him in Gath. The background was that after David had been hounded by Saul and the Ziphites, he thought, maybe I should escape the land and go to the neighbouring land, the Philistine territory. Though he'd been a soldier against the Philistines, yet nevertheless he thought that as a refugee, since he was outlawed in his own country, not coming to fight the Philistines but seeking asylum among the Philistines, he would be safe. But he was quickly recognized, and they said concerning him, isn't this David, the one to whom they sing, Saul has killed his thousands, David his 10,000s? And so they reported David to the king of Gath, and the king of Gath called for David. Well, David then panicked in that situation. He realized it was not safe. He was being recognized there as an enemy of the state. So he was no safer here than he was in the land of Israel. He feigned madness, dribbling down his beard. And the king said, get this madman out of here. And so he escaped from the hand of the Philistines. The tune that this was set to is The Silent Dove in Distant Lands. The title of that tune sounds like a dove in exile, a dove that can't call out because it would become a target of the other birds. It's not at home. If you're used to the sound of doves around, then a silent dove is evidently in distress. This is the circumstance David is in. He's not safe at home, but he is not safe among the enemy either. And so, where is he safe? He turns to the Lord. Again, be merciful to me, O God, for man would swallow me up. Fighting all day, he oppresses me. There was no let-up in the opposition to David. Now, why would there be such particular opposition to David? Well, David had been anointed. David had been successful. People were jealous of his success, and they wanted to put him down. When you do a good job and attract the attention of people, first of all, people will want to align themselves with you that they might benefit from your success. But the other response is that they will seek to pull you down because your success shows them up. And this is what's happening with David. My enemies would hound me all day. There's no let-up in the opposition to David. There are many who fight against me, O Most High. David doesn't want to fight all these people. These are people of his own nation. They're not the enemy. They're the people of God. And, of course, it is sad when God's servants are hounded by others who profess to be walking with God. But David's response then is, whenever I am afraid. So he is fearful. And the account in Samuel makes it plain that he was fearful that all these attacks, one would eventually succeed. Whenever I'm afraid, I will trust in you. In God, I will praise his word. In God, I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do to me. That immediately reminds us of the words of the Lord Jesus. Do not fear the man who can kill the body and then he's finished, but rather fear God, who having killed the body can cast the soul into the lake of fire. David wasn't going to fear men because God was greater. He was trusting God. God had made promises to him in his word, and those promises were that he should be king. So he was waiting the day when the Lord would fulfill his word. But the Lord had not told him to take over the throne. The Lord had simply told him that he would be king. All day they twist my words. The enemy justifies itself, speaking out against David. Their thoughts are against me for evil. They're planning to attack. And of course this happened for the Lord Jesus. They twisted his words. They were looking for occasions, time and time again, to destroy him. They gather together. They hide. They mark my steps when they lie in wait for my life. Shall they escape by iniquity? In anger, cast down the peoples, O God. God's judgment would come upon those who are against his anointed. He is confident that God is keeping a record of his sorrows. You number my wanderings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? When I cry out to you, then my enemies will turn back. This I know because God is for me. In God I will praise his word. In the Lord I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I'll not be afraid. What can man do to me? And so he concludes, vows made to you are binding upon me, O God. I will render praises to you. For you have delivered my soul from death. Have you not kept my feet from falling, that I might walk before God in the land of the living? God had protected him up until this point. For what purpose? That David might continue to walk with God, that David might continue to live and fulfill the purposes God has for him. In God I have put my trust. I will not be afraid. What can man do to me?